Today, we're digging into a massive multi-billion-dollar business decision facing the healthcare titan Roche. The company is at a genuine crossroads, and they have to make a huge choice about their future. So let's break it down.
The whole thing really boils down to this one simple question. Does Roche stick with the old factories that made them a global giant, or do they bet the farm on a totally new kind of unproven future? And believe me, the stakes are absolutely massive.
And when I say the stakes are high, I mean it. To get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number. That's Roche annual revenue, over 60 billion Swiss francs. When a company this big decides to pivot, it doesn't just make ripples, it creates a tidal wave across the entire industry. So what's forcing their hand? Well, it's nothing less than a revolution in medicine itself. The whole model is shifting away from those one-size-fits-all drugs toward these incredibly specific, tailored treatments. For a manufacturing powerhouse like Roche, well, this changes literally everything. This really shows you the two worlds Roche is trying to live in right now. On the left, that's the past. Blockbuster drugs churned out in enormous quantities. Think high volume, low complexity. But on the right, that's the future. Super complex therapies for much, much smaller groups of patients. We're talking low volume, but incredibly high complexity. And the thing is, you just can't use the same kind of factory to make both of those things efficiently. Now, to be fair, Roche is not asleep at the wheel here. They saw this change coming a mile away. They weren't just reacting, they were actively working on a solution. They knew that their factories had to get just as innovative as their science. The big challenge was, how do you build a factory that can move at the speed of a lab? And this is their brilliant answer. It's called Integrated Continuous Manufacturing, or ICM. It is a complete reimagining of what a factory is. So instead of spending months cleaning and retooling a production line just to make a new drug, ICM lets you switch between products incredibly fast. This can slash the time it takes to get a new medicine to patients by up to a full year. I mean, that's a total game changer. And this is exactly why that speed is so critical. Roche pumps over 21% of its revenue, we're talking more than 13 billion francs, right back into R&D. That is one of the highest rates in the entire industry. They basically have a fire hose of new drugs coming out of their labs. But think about it. What good is all that innovation if it just gets stuck in a manufacturing traffic jam for a year? The pressure to speed things up is just immense. And that brings us right back to the heart of the problem, the two-speed dilemma. On the one hand, you've got this incredible new ICM technology that's ready for the future. But on the other hand, you've got billions and billions of dollars already sunk into your old, but still perfectly good factories. It's a classic business school showdown, past investments versus future agility. Now, to really understand the psychology going on here, you have to get this concept of sunk costs. This is money that's already been spent. It's gone. You can't get it back. It was spent building these giant stainless steel plants. And it is incredibly hard psychologically for any executive to look at a billion-dollar asset that's working just fine and say, yeah, let's just shut that down. So the executive committee at Roche is staring down two totally different options. There's option A, the retrofit risk, which is basically trying to shoehorn this new tech into their old plants. And then there's option B, the greenfield gamble, which means building brand new digital-first facilities from the ground up and just walking away from the old ones. Okay. Let's break down option A. Insiders call this one sweat the assets, and the appeal is obvious, right? You save an absolute fortune in the short term because you're using the factories you already paid for. But the risks are huge. You could end up with this clumsy, compromised Franken-manufacturing monster of a system. You're looking at potential operational chaos and, maybe worse of all, huge regulatory delays. Then you've got option B, burn the ships. This is the go big or go home move. You go all in on the future, building these perfect, agile factories. But, wow, the cost is staggering. We are talking capital expenditures in the tens of billions. And during the switch, you'd have to manage two completely different supply chains at once. A total nightmare. Plus, you're walking away from assets that are still perfectly good enough. So that's the choice. And as you can see, there is no easy answer here. You've got the seemingly safe, money-saving option that's actually filled with hidden dangers. And then you have the bold, wildly expensive path that bets everything on the future. And now, that decision is headed for the boardroom. So I want you to imagine you're in that room right now. You've seen all the data, you've heard all the arguments.
The CFO is sweating bullets about the price tag on option B. The head of innovation is terrified of the potential delays from option A. The entire future of the company's manufacturing strategy comes down to this one vote. So, what's your decision? Are you voting A, to sweat the assets, save a ton of cash now, but risk a messy, compromised future? Or do you vote B, to burn the ships, spend billions to go all in on speed and agility? It's time to make the call. What would you do?